In this video, I will show you how to build a simple spreadsheet to keep track of your school system. The idea for this came from an email that one of my viewers sent. His name is Allan. So I got this email from Allan and he wanted to understand how to use Excel to keep track of a course that runs across multiple semesters and multiple terms. And he even proposed that I would love to do a video with you where you help me out, and then I get benefit and you will also be able to create a video. So that is what this video is all about. I had a video call with Allan, so let's jump into that so that we can understand what Allan's problem is and how you can create a similar spreadsheet for your school or any other administrative thing that you're doing. Hopefully you'll find many interesting things because many times the examples that I provide on my channel are more on the sales and finance side. So I thought doing something on education space is very much fun. I get to learn something new, and hopefully you will learn something new as well. Let's talk to Allan. Hey Allan, how are you?
I'm good, Chandoo, thank you, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about what is it that you are trying to achieve?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, when I first contacted you, I was doing a work for an education provider, and we have courses, multiple courses that I'm trying to track the students who are enrolled in the course and how they're progressing through the course. So at any given time, we're able to tell the students what they've done, where they're up to, and what they need to do next. So the problem is, I guess, this is my inexperience with Excel and similar types of tools to track these things. So what I've done with Chandoo, I've sent to you what I've tried to do, which is try to track the students in their cohorts. This one here. So students that start on the same date are expected to go through the same subjects in the same term and finish at the same time. Yeah, that's a standard progress. But of course, things happen along the way. Some student might fail, or they might get credit for something that they don't have to repeat, or they withdraw, or other things. So they're not on their standard study pattern. So I've tried to track it this way, but it's already, I can see from very small student numbers, it's going to be hard to keep an eye on. So I was hoping, Chandoo, with your great videos and your great sharing of knowledge, I thought we could tackle this as a problem-solving exercise. It's probably small from your point of view, but hopefully.
It's an interesting problem, and while it might appear like a small problem, it was kind of tricky for me to understand what are the key pain points for you, and then understand how you should take this forward, because I've never worked in this situation of a school system. So for me, that was the challenge, trying to see what is it that would make Allan's life easy, but also like what would it be more achievable, right? Because there's a lot of things that you could do, but some of them might take quite a bit of time and effort to put together, and that may not be worth your while. So that's the other challenge. So what we will do is we will open a blank Excel file. I'll show you what I mean by this in a blank file. I already made an example file for you, so I'll show the basics of how that is here, and then we will jump into my full file, which I already built prior to our meeting, so that you can then, we will go into that. So as it stands, when you have a problem like this, I think the first thing that you or anybody else need to do is kind of list down what is happening in the real world, and then translate that into Excel world. That's pretty much how I would do it. So the things that are happening are each student does 4 courses, right? So this is at the highest level, that's what is happening. I mean, that's not 100% true. Some students may not do a course or 2 because they got a prior credit from another program, or they choose to drop out or whatever. But at a high level, each student is doing 4 courses. Each term we teach 2 courses. So I mean, again, probably the better way of saying this is they learn 2 courses per term.
Why is it a better way to say it?
I mean, if I say just 2 courses to teach, that means we are teaching the same 2 courses that term, but in reality, you'll have some students going through 805, 6, some students going through 807 and 8. So you're parallelly teaching multiple courses. It's just that a student as an individual can only do 2 courses in that term. So it takes them 2 terms to finish the program. So if we now take those 2 ideas and put that back into the data here, there's 4 courses, 805, 6, 7, 8 that they need to be doing. And they'll do 2 per term. So they'll finish that in 2 terms. That's the basic idea here. So they learn 2 courses per term. That is at a very, very high level what is really happening. If I just strip out every other bit, then this is what is happening. So then what I think we then need to set up for capturing the data, that is what is happening at any point of time. That's the data entry stage. Obviously, we will have a student column. This is where I will put my student ID or name or whatever. And then we will also have a cohort column. This is basically which batch of other bunch of students that they are working together in that term. So you have this student here, Dushyant and Zenith and Peter. They're all in the cohort 1, and these 3 are in cohort 2, and these 7 are in the cohort 3. So that's my cohort, and then we can then say what is happening to them in a given term. So we will have your term and then course. And finally, what was the output? What was the outcome? Did they complete the course? Are they currently enrolled? Did they use a credit, or they failed, or whatever? So that's the status option. So this is how I think you should structure your data. You set it up like this, then it will be easy for us to both maintain this data and track it. So what we will do now is we will take this. I'll just copy this, paste it here. And then we will try to kind of see how that would look like in this new format. So our first student is Dushyant. So I'll copy this person. Because they're doing 4 courses, that same name will appear 4 times. So that's the key difference between your way of maintaining and this new approach. The name will appear 4 times. So this way, if they are doing this course where there is this certificate where there are 4 courses, their name will be 4 times. But if they are doing a diploma or another program where they have to complete 12 courses, then their name will appear 12, because that's how many different things they're doing. And they are in the cohort 1. So we'll just put that and copy that. And they're doing these 2 in first term and then these 2 in the second term. So we'll call this as T1 2021, T1 2021, and then T2 2021, T2 2021. You can call it whatever. You can even put the physical date when the term starts, and that's also fine. The course itself is 805, 806, 807, and 808. And they did finish that entire program. So we'll just copy this word completed and paste it here. So they've completed that course. So this is the format, and then you just repeat it. So that's what I've done. I've set up the data sheet here with a few extra things. So this is how, when you completely set it up, it will look like this. And while this in itself is fine. Sorry, did you say anything?
No. I just said okay, but I did think of something. Maybe I'll just ask now, but probably come up later.
Yeah, you can ask. I think
later, or
no, you can ask the questions.
Oh, okay. I was thinking this is if it's a part-time student. How would that work? Because then a part-time student would. Oh, you just put the terms. It'll be spread out wider.
Yeah. So if it's a part-time, what does it really mean to you? Does it mean they take longer to complete?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they might do one 1 unit per term instead of 2 per term.
Yeah, so that's fine. So you would then imagine this person is part-time. They'll do 805 this term, 806 in the next term,
Right.
807 in the third term, and then 808 in the fourth term. So they are, you can space them out. Like they can even take a break after third term and then come back in the next year. That's also fine.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think we kind of jumped ahead, but if you go back, the difference between what we are doing here is we're just putting the data, and this particular worksheet here is, here I've set it up in a table format within Excel so that it's neatly laid out. And then I have kind of defined possible values for each of these things: cohort, term, course, and status. So any value that you put here, it has to be one of those values. So cohort can be one of these 10 cohorts. So you can't really be in cohort 72 because that doesn't exist. You can define what these values are, and then whatever you define, that will be the only possible. Likewise, the terms will be, right now it goes from term 1 of 2021 to term 4 of 2022. But again, you can add more, or you can change this structure.
We can put in a break, a term break in there as well.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want, and that. So the values here are all customizable. I'll show you what that looks like. So here, what I did is I've defined this set of values.
Yeah.
And you can change any of this. So for example, if your school is closed in term 3 of 2021 because of maybe COVID lockdown or something else, you don't have term 3, you will just either not have that item or call it something else, and then just put T4, and that'll reflect in the data. You'll just have to readjust things based on what you already typed. So we define all the possible combinations, and then we just use the data validation feature of Excel to set up the rule that says that, when you're picking the cohort, it will need to be one of those values. So that's how I've set it up, and we just keep putting the data. If somebody fails a course, like this person here has failed 807, you can then go ahead and add one more record for them whenever they reappears for the course. So let's say they reappear in the term 3 of 2021 as a current student, you just put that record there. So this way you have both the information of the fact that they have failed and now they are repeating here. So you could ask questions like how many people have failed in 807 and currently repeating, and you will be able to get the answer. So this is a more compact structure. It will let you scale it up as much as possible depending on how many different courses and things are there. And because we are using the data validation, it is easy to customize and work with. Do you have any questions, or do you see this?
Yes, I don't know what to say. It's just so much better. I feel relieved already. This is, Chandoo, this is a difference. Like with Excel, people like me, we try and use our common sense to work through it. And then someone like you who actually is trained and knows it comes and shows us, what we don't know, So the value of training and looking at people like you and how you do it. I would never have thought of this way, but I'm sure your viewers might think I should know this, but I don't. So, but it's good. I understand it now that you've explained it to me.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing. Like because Excel is so flexible and so approachable, you could do it in any number of ways and still go to the same destination, which is helping your students, right? That's really what you care about. You don't really care much about how you use Excel. So, but because it also has all these powerful features and helpful features, it does help you to at least not deliberately, but from time to time, take a minute out of your day to just learn a little bit more. it will always be useful.
The thing is, it's endless the things you have to learn in Excel. It's
Yeah,
just
that is the other thing. That is the overwhelming side of it. But I wouldn't really feel too like, yeah, you should not be feeling that. You should just take small wins one at a time, and eventually you will reach a place where, because it's not like learning to drive. Like, if you don't know how to drive, you must learn the whole thing before you can drive the car.
yeah.
Whereas with Excel, there is no driving certificate or license that you need to get before you can use it. So
Yeah.
you can learn one or two things, start using it, and then come back and learn more. So it becomes
Yeah.
so much more friendlier and acceptable in that way.
So that, Chandoo, the very first thing you showed me, where you said you want to know what's happening in the real world. And is that how you would normally start? If you had a problem like this, you'd go, what's happening in the real world, and then see where the data is. Yeah.
Yeah, usually that is the approach that I take, especially if I am entering into a place where I have no prior experience or nothing to fall back on. Then I would try to use this idea of simplifying the real life things and then taking it into the spreadsheet. Many times we have the temptation to just jump in and do something here, but it will help if we just at least sit and observe or chat with people who are managing that, and then ask them questions like, hey, so what do you do here? What happens now? What happens now? Okay, so once we have that, then what I did is I added a visual thing. This is optional because the visual thing is just to give you that sort of a this type of a snapshot of what is happening to everybody in real life, where everyone is, and whether they finished or doing or whatever, as a calendar. I think this kind of like an academic calendar kind of a so that's the visual thing that I added here. But what I did is I simplified it a bit. There's an error here. We'll figure that out later. So what it shows, this shows is for each of the students. So right now we have Dushyant here. What is their current cohort and what has happened to their 4 courses? So the 4 courses they're supposed to do are 805, 6, 7, 8, and you could see that Dushyant, for example, is a part-time student because we made him part-time now. So he's doing 805 in term 1, 806 in term 2, and he did complete them. So completion is green dot. We just need to put the legend here. And he's doing 807 here and 808 there. So that's how that particular visual is set up. Here there is an error because what is happening is when we made him part-time, we inadvertently re-enrolled him into the same course twice. So he's doing term 3, 807. One record says failed, but all the way down here it says he's a current student. So this is why basically we have not put the correct data. You can't have same person doing the course twice in the same thing. So we'll just move this guy to term 4, and so you can see what is happening to him here. He did 805, 806, completed them. 807 he failed, which is the red dot. So he repeated 807 currently, and then 808 is here. It says 2022, but we've just put that as completed, so it's appearing as green dot. And you can see what is happening. For example, right now we are in term 3 of 2021, September 2021. So I'd imagine that'll fall here. And you can see all your current students here. What is it happening with each courses? And if you just count the dots, that's how many people are there in that program right now. And you can also see, for example, 807 and 8 have these 2 students, Raylene, having a CPL. So they're not really doing the course, they got a credit. So again, that'll give you a good idea of what's the workload like for our teachers and classrooms and everything.
And that's sorry, that's looking in the formula at formula bar. That's a whole big formula that got you to there. Right.
So this is why I said the visual thing is something that you don't have to do it right away, because what this visual tries to do is it's trying to provide the information in a completely automated way. So something changes on the data sheet, the visual immediately reflects that, like the way we've seen. So for example, here Raylene will just say is also CPL for this. So there's one more dot appearing here now saying they are they're taking the credit as well. So it's all dynamic, and that means there needs to be some sort of Excel formulas or pivots or something else needing to drive that. Whereas if you're not comfortable or not familiar with that way of doing, then what you could also do is you don't have to go this far. You can just use the data entry and apply filters to still get the answers for most of your day-to-day questions. The visual is really just like a cherry on the top of this cake.
It's good, it's good. And thanks for doing it. I contacted you for a couple of reasons. One is I've been surfing the web for Excel tutorials. Then I came to yours and I stopped there because it just helped me a lot. But the thing is, from our point of view, is it's usually not, sometimes it's too general, like they talk about sales and geography, but as you saw, for me, that's not relevant. I don't know if everybody who watches those videos does sales in different territories, but that's what the examples usually are, so that's why I thought it'd be good for you and for people like you to start using examples, and it's like a case study, I'm
totally
happy to
agree. And because as I said, one of my like every time I'm looking to do things, I always want to do things that I have not done before. So when I read your email and you explained the problem, I thought, this is something that I've never done. I need to know more about it because it will give me fresh ideas, and it will expose me to an industry or a market situation where I have not previously got any experience. So for me, that is as a trainer and as a learner, it is a very good value for me to do that. So I really appreciate you for sending the file and explaining the problem. And I hope I've given you some ideas.
I tell you what, you changed everything for me. It's just so much better. I'll definitely recommend. I'll let people know. About your channel.
You, Allan.
Yes, subscribe. But definitely.
I hope you enjoyed it. I had lots of fun talking to Allan and building that spreadsheet. You can download a copy of that school spreadsheet from the video description below. Check it out. But if you would like to learn a little bit more about how to create a generic tracker that can be applied across many different work situations, check out my video on how to create an elegant tracker using Excel. It is shown somewhere on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in that video. Bye-bye.